Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Lady Bloom podcast. I'm your host, Georgiana. In this episode, I invite you to begin with a tough question. What's your greatest fear? It's not an easy question to ask and not an easy one to answer. But if I'm being honest with myself, my biggest fear is this: not living up to my soul's potential. Because it's so much easier to stay in a comfortable place, even when you know deep down that comfort is actually keeping you small. A place becomes toxic when it stops you from growing. What does growth require? Growth asks us to face the monsters. What monsters, you might ask? They're not always dramatic or loud. Sometimes they're the quiet patterns you've carried since childhood, beliefs you never chose, fears that took root early on, the echo of other people's voices that shaped who you thought you had to be. There's the fear of the unknown, the spiral of overthinking, the pressure of aging, the weight of societal expectations, especially when you're still figuring it out, still rewriting the story. And sometimes the biggest enemy is you, the part of you that stands in your own way. Where did all these thoughts come from? The answer is simple. From life itself. The universe keeps nudging until we have no choice but to stop and look, to confront what we'd been avoiding, to face the mirror and start over from a higher place in consciousness. If you look at anyone who's done something meaningful with their life, not just the ones we label as successful, but the ones who radiate truth, depth, wholeness. They've all walked through something. They've all met their demons. They've all climbed out of something dark. So it makes me wonder, can we all do that? Or do some of us fail the supreme test? But what is that test? It's the one that drags your deepest shadows into the light, the test that shows you everything you've hidden, buried, denied, and then asks you to choose. Will you face it? It's the moment when you can no longer pretend it's not there, when you suffer, deny, resist, suffer again, and finally, you reach deep into your strength, grab that shadow by the collar, and face it fully, not to destroy it, but to understand it. We all have these shadows. It's part of being human. They come from ancestral pain, from family wounds, from culture and traditions, our personalities, and how we react to life. Because from the moment we arrive in this world, how we respond to things, consciously or not, starts shaping who we are, from the games we played as children, to the friendships we've formed, to how we speak in a meeting today or how we spend our Saturday night. It all connects. It all creates ripples. So, where does that take us? It now becomes clearer. We've always been active participants in the direction of our lives. Sure, sometimes the universe intervenes. Sometimes fate has a plan we don't understand. But maybe, just maybe, some part of us chose it, chose to be there at that right moment, so we could go through what was meant for us to face. Maybe there's a soul contract, something we agree to before we arrive in this world. And through every experience, the joy, the heartbreak, the stillness, the chaos, we inch closer to what we came here for. Healing. That's it. Healing is what matters the most, not becoming someone new, but remembering who we've always been, underneath all the layers. Layers built from expectations, from fear, from old programming, and healing is like peeling them away, one by one, until one day when we recognize ourselves again. Does the healing ever end? I used to think so, but now I believe it's lifelong. Not because we're broken, but because we keep unfolding. New experiences reveal new truths, new layers appear. What should keep us going when it feels too heavy? The reminder that healing isn't selfish. Every wound we clear in ourselves, we clear for someone else too. For our mothers and the loved ones, for us and the generations to come. Healing always ripples outward. We never do it in isolation. So if I could leave you with one invitation today, it would be this. Be curious about your shadows. Don't run from them, sit with them. Listen to what they have to say. They're not here to ruin you. They're here to remind you of your own strength. Let's pause for a moment together. Just breathe, inhale and exhale. Now I ask you, What shadow have you been avoiding lately? What's been quietly waiting for your attention? Maybe it's a fear, a story, a version of you you're still afraid to meet. It's time to notice it. If something stirred within you today, I invite you to share. Message me, write a comment, or say it out loud, because sometimes healing begins the moment we name what we were once afraid to feel. Thank you for being here, for walking this path with me. Until next time, be gentle with your shadows. They are part of your becoming.